When 16-year-old Ella Hartley asked her mom for $40 to go shopping at the mall with her best friend, no one imagined it would be the last time her family would see her for 14 years. The purple hoodie she wore that day, her silver charm bracelet tinkling as she walked out the door, would become haunting memories for her mother, Hannah. As Ella kissed her little sister Cora goodbye and promised to bring back something special, none of them knew that a dark secret from their father's past was about to shatter their lives forever. This is the true story of one family's heartbreaking search for answers and the shocking discovery that would finally bring their daughter home. Hannah Hartley stood at the kitchen sink, washing the breakfast dishes as sunshine streamed through the window. It was Saturday, March 14, 2009, and the Iowa spring was just beginning to shake off winter's grip. Her 16-year-old daughter Ella bounced into the kitchen, her long brown hair swaying with each step. "Mom, can I go to Lindale Mall with Mia?" Ella asked, grabbing an apple from the fruit bowl. "There's a spring sale at Forever 21, and I really need some new clothes." Hannah turned, drying her hands on a dish towel. She studied her daughter's hopeful face. Ella wore her favorite purple hoodie, the one with Cedar Rapids Tigers printed across the front in faded white letters. The silver charm bracelet Hannah had given her for her last birthday tinkled softly as Ella moved. "Did you finish your homework?" Hannah asked, though she already knew the answer. Ella was a straight-A student at Kennedy High School. "All done, even the extra credit for Mr. Peterson's history class." Ella grinned, showing the small gap between her front teeth that Hannah found so endearing. 9-year-old Cora appeared in the doorway, still in her pajamas, clutching her stuffed rabbit. "Can I come too?" she asked, her voice thick with sleep. Ella knelt down to her sister's level. "Not this time, Squirt. It's just me and Mia. But I'll bring you back something special, okay?" Cora nodded, wrapping her small arms around Ella's neck. "Promise?" "Promise," Ella said, kissing her sister's cheek. Hannah reached for her purse on the counter. "Here's $40. That should be enough for a couple of shirts or maybe a dress." She held out two $20 bills. "Thanks, Mom." Ella tucked the money into her jeans pocket. "Mia's mom is dropping us off at 2, and we'll get a ride back with her older brother around 6. Text me when you get there," Hannah said, the familiar worry of a parent bubbling up. "And stay together." "We always do." Ella rolled her eyes but smiled to soften it. She grabbed her small crossbody bag from the hook by the door. "Love you." "Love you too, honey. Be careful." Hannah watched from the living room window as Ella walked down their tree-lined street toward Mia's house, 3 blocks away. The charm bracelet caught the sunlight, creating tiny sparkles that danced around her daughter's wrist. It was 1:30 p.m. Tom Hartley came downstairs, adjusting his tie. "Where's Ella off to?" "Shopping with Mia at Lindale," Hannah replied, still watching until Ella turned the corner and disappeared from view. "Are you working today? It's Saturday." Tom shifted uncomfortably. "Just need to handle some paperwork at the office. Shouldn't take more than a couple hours." Hannah nodded, though something in Tom's voice seemed off. He'd been working a lot of weekends lately at his accounting firm. She pushed the thought aside and turned to Cora. "Want to help me bake cookies?" The afternoon passed pleasantly. Hannah and Cora made chocolate chip cookies, the sweet smell filling their modest 2-story home on Bever Avenue. They watched cartoons and played board games. Hannah checked her phone at 2:15 p.m. Ella had texted, "At mall." By 5:30 p.m., Hannah started preparing dinner. She made Ella's favorite, homemade mac and cheese with breadcrumb topping. Tom returned home around 5:45, looking tired and distracted. At 6:12 p.m., Hannah's phone rang. The caller ID showed Chen Family. "Hi, Mrs. Chen," Hannah answered cheerfully. "Are the girls on their way back?" There was a pause. "Hannah, this is Mia. Is Ella with you?" Hannah's heart skipped. "What do you mean? Aren't you together?" "Mrs. Hartley, Ella never showed up. I waited at the mall entrance for an hour. I thought maybe she changed her mind or got sick." The kitchen suddenly felt very cold. Hannah gripped the counter for support. "But she texted me. She said she was at the mall. I've been trying to call her, but it goes straight to voicemail," Mia said, her voice shaking. "I'm so sorry. I should have called earlier, but I thought, it's okay, Mia. Let me try to reach her." Hannah hung up, her fingers trembling as she dialed Ella's number. Voicemail. "Tom," she called, panic rising in her throat. "Something's wrong." Ella never met up with Mia. Tom's face went pale. "What? But she left hours ago." They called everyone they could think of. Ella's friends, neighbors, relatives. No one had seen her. At 7:30 p.m., Hannah called the Cedar Rapids Police Department. Officer Patricia Mills arrived at 8:15 p.m. She took down Ella's description. 5'5", brown hair, brown eyes, last seen wearing a purple Kennedy High hoodie, blue jeans, and white sneakers, the silver charm bracelet, the small crossbody bag with sunflowers on it. "Teenagers sometimes lose track of time," Officer Mills said gently. "She might be at a friend's house or—" "Ella's not like that," Hannah interrupted. "She always lets us know where she is. Always." By 10 p.m., the police had issued an alert. Detective Ramon Garcia, a veteran of the Cedar Rapids Police Department, took charge of the case. He was a tall man with kind eyes and graying hair who specialized in missing persons. "We've pulled the security footage from Lyndale Mall, Detective," Garcia told them at 11:30 p.m. "Your daughter entered through the main entrance at 2:17 p.m. But here's the strange thing. We can't find footage of her leaving." Hannah felt the room spin. Tom put his arm around her shoulders. "We're checking all the cameras now," the detective continued. "Every exit, every store. We'll find her." Cora had fallen asleep on the couch, clutching her stuffed rabbit. Hannah carried her upstairs and tucked her into bed, kissing her forehead. In Ella's room, everything looked normal. Clothes on the floor, books stacked on her desk, her laptop closed. Then Hannah noticed something that made her blood run cold. Ella's diary lay open on her bed. Hannah had always respected her daughter's privacy and never read it. But now, in the lamplight, she could see the last entry was from that morning, and someone had circled it in red ink. The red circle seemed to pulse as Hannah stared at it. Ella didn't own any red pens. Hannah's hand shook as she reached for the diary, knowing that whatever was written there would change everything. The clock on Ella's nightstand clicked to midnight. Somewhere in Cedar Rapids, Hannah's daughter was missing. And the circled diary entry held a secret that would haunt the Hartley family for the next 14 years. Hannah's fingers trembled as she lifted the diary from Ella's bed. The red circle around the morning's entry seemed to burn into her eyes. She sat down heavily, on the edge of the mattress, her heart pounding in her ears. March 14th. Today, I'm finally going to do it. I'm scared but excited. Josh says everything will be better after today. Mom and Dad don't understand what it's like. They never will. I love them. But sometimes love isn't enough. I hope Cora forgives me. Remember, purple notebook, locker 237, combination 1531-9. If anyone finds this, I'm sorry. The words blurred as tears filled Hannah's eyes. Who was Josh? What purple notebook? She'd never heard Ella mention anyone named Josh before. The diary, slipped from her hands as Detective Garcia appeared in the doorway. "Mrs. Hartley, we need to—" He stopped when he saw her face. "What is it?" Hannah pointed to the diary with a shaking hand. The detective put on latex gloves before picking it up, his expression growing grim as he read. The next 48 hours passed in a blur of activity. Tom organized search parties at first light, gathering neighbors, church members, and Ella's classmates. They combed through Palisades Kepler State Park, checking every trail and shelter. Volunteers walked the banks of the Cedar River, calling Ella's name until their voices grew hoarse. The local news picked up the story by Sunday evening. Sarah Williams, the anchor for KCRG TV9, stood outside Lyndale Mall, her blonde hair whipping in the March wind. 16-year-old Ella Hartley was last seen entering this mall yesterday afternoon, she reported, gesturing to the building behind her. Police are asking anyone with information to come forward. Hannah watched the broadcast from her living room, surrounded by friends who had come to offer support. Cora sat beside her, unusually quiet, clutching the stuffed rabbit Ella had won for her at the state fair last summer. "When is Ella coming home?" Cora whispered. Hannah pulled her close. "Soon, baby. Soon." On Monday morning, FBI agent Marcus Thompson arrived from the Omaha field office. He was tall and imposing, with sharp eyes that seemed to miss nothing. He set up a command center in the Hartleys' dining room. "We're treating this as a possible abduction," Agent Thompson explained to Hannah and Tom. "The diary entry suggests she may have been communicating with someone online." Detective Garcia nodded. "We interviewed mall employees yesterday. A cashier at Claire's boutique remembers seeing a girl matching Ella's description. She seemed nervous, kept looking over her shoulder." "Did she buy anything?" Tom asked, his voice hoarse from calling Ella's name during the searches. "No. She asked about friendship bracelets, then left quickly." That afternoon, a breakthrough came. A maintenance worker found Ella's cell phone in the mall parking lot, tucked under a car near the east entrance. The screen was cracked, and the last text message was half finished. "I'm here, but something doesn't feel right." The message had been typed at 2:22 p.m. on Saturday, just 5 minutes after Ella entered the mall. Hannah stared at the phone, her daughter's pink case with its worn edges achingly familiar. "She knew something was wrong," she whispered. "She tried to tell someone." The tech team worked through the night extracting data from the phone. By Tuesday morning, they had results. "We need to talk about Locker 237 at Kennedy High School," Detective Garcia said, referring to the diary entry. "The principal is meeting us there in an hour." The high school was eerily quiet during spring break. Principal Deborah Chang led them down the empty hallways to Ella's locker. Using the combination from the diary, they opened it. Inside, tucked behind textbooks, they found a purple spiral notebook. Detective Garcia flipped through it carefully. Page after page contained printed emails and chat logs between Ella and someone called Josh, 17. "He's been grooming her for months," Agent Thompson said grimly. "Classic predator behavior. He convinced her that her family didn't understand her, that he was the only one who really cared." Hannah felt sick reading the messages. This Josh had known exactly what to say to a teenage girl feeling misunderstood. He'd promised her a better life, a fresh start. The investigation intensified. Computer forensics experts traced the IP addresses, but they led to public Wi-Fi spots across the Midwest. Whoever Josh was, he knew how to cover his tracks. Wednesday brought more volunteers to the search effort. Local businesses donated food and supplies. The community rallied around the Hartleys, organizing candlelight vigils and prayer circles. But as the days passed with no sign of Ella, hope began to fade. On Thursday, security footage analysis revealed something disturbing. At 2:25 p.m. on Saturday, cameras had captured a man in a baseball cap and sunglasses watching Ella from the second floor of the mall. He followed her at a distance for several minutes before both disappeared from view near a service entrance. "We're working on enhancing the image," Detective Garcia explained, but he kept his face turned away from cameras. This guy knew what he was doing. That night, Cora couldn't sleep. She crawled into bed with Hannah, her small body shaking with sobs. "I want Ella back," she cried. "She promised to bring me something special from the mall." Hannah held her daughter tight, her own tears soaking into Cora's hair. "I know, baby. I know." By Friday, the case had gained national attention. Tips poured in from across the country, but none led to Ella. The FBI brought in profilers and missing persons specialists. As the first week came to an end, exhaustion settled over the Hartley home like a heavy blanket. Tom hadn't been to work. Hannah had barely eaten. Cora refused to go to school. Late Friday night, Detective Garcia called with news that sent chills down Hannah's spine. "We found something else in the purple notebook," he said. Hidden between pages, a photograph. It shows Ella with an older man, maybe in his 30s. They're standing in front of what looks like a cabin. And Mrs. Hartley, there's writing on the back. It says, "Our secret place, where it all begins." Hannah gripped the phone tighter. "Do you know where it is?" "We're working on it. But there's something else you should know. That man in the photo? We've seen him before. In our missing persons database, connected to 3 other cases of disappeared teenage girls." The line went silent for a moment before Detective Garcia continued. "Mrs. Hartley, I think your daughter may have been targeted by someone very dangerous, someone who's done this before." Hannah's world tilted on its axis. "What do you mean, he's done this before?" Her voice was barely a whisper. "We need to talk in person," Detective Garcia said. "I'm on my way." 20 minutes later, Garcia and Agent Thompson sat in the Hartleys' living room, spreading files across the coffee table. 3 photographs of smiling teenage girls stared up at them. Ashley Martinez, 15, disappeared from a mall in Des Moines in 2007. Agent Thompson began. Rachel Burke, 16, vanished from a shopping center in Omaha in 2008. Sarah Coleman, 15, went missing in Davenport 6 months ago. Tom studied the photos. They all look similar. Brown hair, brown eyes, about the same height and build as Ella, Garcia confirmed. All were good students, came from stable families, no history of running away. And all were communicating with someone online before they disappeared, Thompson added. Different usernames, but the writing patterns match. We believe it's the same person. Hannah felt sick. Were they ever found? The silence that followed was answer enough. "We're not giving up," Garcia said firmly. "Now that we know what we're dealing with, we can narrow our search. The computer forensics team is working around the clock on those chat logs." The next morning, Mia Chen arrived at the house, her eyes red from crying. She'd been Ella's best friend since kindergarten. "Mrs. Hartley, I need to tell you something," Mia said, wringing her hands. "I promised Ella I wouldn't, but now—" Hannah led her to the kitchen table. "What is it, sweetie?" Ella was planning to meet someone that day. At the mall. She'd been talking to this guy online for months. She made me swear not to tell because she knew you'd freak out. "Did you ever see his messages?" Detective Garcia asked gently. Mia nodded. "A few times. He seemed nice at first. Said he was 18, just graduated from high school. But lately, Ella seemed scared. She said he was getting pushy, wanting to meet in person. Why didn't she just block him? Hannah asked. She tried, but he said he knew where she lived, where she went to school. He had pictures of her that she never sent him. Pictures taken from outside our school, at the park, even through her bedroom window. Hannah's blood ran cold. This man had been stalking her daughter. That afternoon, private investigator Julia Santos knocked on their door. Tom had hired her without telling Hannah. "Mr. Hartley asked me to look into some things," Santos explained. "I've discovered something troubling about your husband's recent activities." Hannah turned to Tom, who had gone pale. "What is she talking about?" Santos pulled out bank statements. "Mr. Hartley has significant gambling debts. He's borrowed money from some dangerous people." "Tom?" Hannah's voice shook. "Is this true?" Tom slumped into a chair. I got in over my head. Online poker. I thought I could win it back." "How much?" Hannah demanded. $50,000. The room spun. Hannah gripped the back of a chair. "Does this have anything to do with Ella?" "No," Tom insisted. "I swear." "Hannah? I would never—" "But someone might use her as leverage," Agent Thompson interrupted. "We need names, Mr. Hartley. Everyone you owe money to." As Tom provided names, Hannah retreated to Ella's room. She needed to be close to her daughter, even if only through her belongings. That's when she noticed it. Ella's laptop was missing. It had been on her desk the night she disappeared. "The laptop's gone!" she called out. The investigators rushed upstairs. A thorough search confirmed it wasn't in the house. "Whoever took Ella must have come here afterward," Detective Garcia said. "They knew we'd check her computer." "But we have security cameras," Tom protested. Garcia shook his head. "The footage from that night is corrupted. Someone knew what they were doing." Over the next few days, anonymous letters began arriving. Simple white envelopes with no return address, postmarked from different cities across Iowa. "She's safe. Stop looking." Some daughters choose to leave. Not all families are as perfect as they seem. The FBI analyzed the letters, but found no fingerprints, no DNA, nothing to trace. On day 10 of Ella's disappearance, the enhanced security footage was ready. They gathered around Agent Thompson's laptop. "There," he said, pointing to the screen. "That's our suspect." The image was grainy, but showed a tall man in a baseball cap following Ella through the mall. In one frame, he turned slightly toward a camera. Hannah leaned closer. Something about his posture seemed familiar. "Can you zoom in?" As the image enlarged, Hannah gasped. On the man's wrist was a distinctive watch, the same one she'd given Tom for their anniversary. "That's not Tom," she said quickly. "He was at work. You verified his alibi." "We did," Garcia confirmed. "But someone wanted us to think it was him." "Who would do that?" Hannah asked. Agent Thompson's phone buzzed. He read the message, his face hardening. "We just got a hit on the photograph from the purple notebook. The cabin in the background? It belongs to someone named Jennifer Walsh." Tom went rigid. "You know that name?" Garcia asked. Tom's voice was barely audible. "Jennifer Walsh was my first wife. She died in a car accident 15 years ago." Hannah stared at her husband. "You were married before?" "It was brief. A mistake. I never told you because—" "Because what?" Hannah demanded. "Because she didn't really die in an accident," Tom whispered. "She tried to kill me first. The car crash was her attempting to take us both out. I survived. She didn't. Or so I thought." The room fell silent as the implications sank in. Detective Garcia pulled out his phone. "I need a full background check on Jennifer Walsh. Now." As they waited, Hannah's mind raced. If Jennifer was alive, if she was involved in Ella's disappearance, Then, this wasn't about online predators or gambling debts. This was about revenge. The revelation about Jennifer Walsh sent shockwaves through the investigation. While the FBI dug into her past, supposed sightings of Ella began pouring in from across the Midwest. "We've got a possible match in Des Moines," Detective Garcia announced. One morning, a waitress at a truck stop says she served a girl matching Ella's description yesterday. Hannah grabbed her coat. "I'm going." "Mrs. Hartley, we can't be sure," Garcia began. "I don't care. If there's even a chance it's her, I need to see for myself." The 2-hour drive to Des Moines felt endless. Hannah's hopes soared as they pulled into the Flying J truck stop. The waitress, a woman named Brenda, led them to a corner booth. "She sat right here," Brenda said, ordered pancakes and orange juice, seemed nervous, kept watching the door. "Did she say anything?" Hannah asked eagerly. "Asked about bus schedules heading west. Left a good tip, though." Brenda pulled out her phone. "I took a picture when she wasn't looking. Thought she might be a runaway." Hannah's heart sank as she looked at the photo. The girl had brown hair and a similar build, but it wasn't Ella. The drive home was silent. Another dead end in a growing list of disappointments. Back in Cedar Rapids, Tom's life was unraveling. His gambling debts had been exposed, and loan sharks were circling. One afternoon, Hannah found him in the garage, sobbing. "I've ruined everything," he choked out. "The bank's foreclosing on the house. My job's on the line. And now Ella." "You should have told me," Hannah said coldly. "About the gambling, about Jennifer, about all of it. I was ashamed. I thought I could fix it before you found out." That night, Cora's 10th birthday arrived, a day they'd normally celebrate with cake and presents. Instead, they sat quietly at the kitchen table, a single cupcake with a candle in front of her. "Make a wish, sweetie," Hannah urged. Cora closed her eyes tight. "I wish for Ella to come home," she whispered, then blew out the candle. The investigation hit another roadblock when Detective Garcia was suddenly transferred. "Budget cuts," they said. His replacement was a younger detective who seemed overwhelmed by the case's complexity. Agent Thompson remained, but even he seemed frustrated. "The trail's going cold," he admitted to Hannah. "Without new evidence?" Summer turned to fall. The maple trees along Bever Avenue blazed red and gold, but the Hartley house remained shrouded in grief. Hannah continued putting up flyers, making calls, refusing to give up hope. More false sightings came in. Wisconsin, Minnesota, Illinois. Each one required verification. Each one ended in heartbreak. Tom moved out in October, taking a small apartment downtown. The divorce papers arrived in November. "I still love you," he said when he came to sign them. "I know," Hannah replied, "but I can't look at you without wondering what else you're hiding." As the holidays approached, the case officially went cold. The FBI reduced their involvement. The volunteer search parties dwindled. Even the media moved on to other stories. But Hannah couldn't let go. Every morning, she checked email for new tips. Every night, she studied maps, looking for places they might have missed. On Christmas Eve, while hanging stockings with Cora, Hannah noticed something odd in Ella's room. The carpet in the corner seemed loose. She'd vacuumed there countless times, but never noticed it before. Kneeling down, she pulled back the carpet edge and found a small hole cut in the floorboard. Inside was a hidden compartment containing a flash drive and a folded piece of paper. With trembling hands, Hannah unfolded the note. "Mom, if you're reading this, something went wrong. The flash drive has everything. Emails, photos, recordings. I was trying to gather evidence. Jennifer isn't dead. She's been watching us for years. She has people everywhere. Trust no one. I love you. Hannah clutched the note to her chest, tears streaming down her face. Ella had known. She'd been trying to protect them. But from what? The flash drive felt heavy in her palm, holding secrets that might finally lead to answers. Or to more questions. As snow began falling outside, Hannah plugged the drive into her laptop. The screen filled with files, dozens of them. Photos of their house taken from different angles. Recordings of phone calls, screenshots of emails between Tom and unknown addresses, and in a folder labeled Truth, a video file titled Watch This First. Hannah's finger hovered over the mouse. Whatever was on this video would change everything. Again, she clicked play. The highlights video flickered to life, but the screen remained black. Then Ella's voice, hushed and urgent. Mom, I don't have much time. I'm recording this on February 28th. If you're watching this, it means I couldn't delete it in time, which means something happened to me. Hannah's heart clenched at the sound of her daughter's voice. But before Ella could say more, the video cut to static. The file was corrupted. No, no, no! Hannah frantically tried other files on the drive. Some opened, surveillance photos, cryptic emails. But many were damaged. Whatever evidence Ella had gathered was partially destroyed. 5 years had passed since that snowy Christmas Eve discovery. It was now 2014, and Cedar Rapids had moved on, but Hannah couldn't. She'd become a regular at the police station, bringing new theories, re-examined evidence, anything to keep Ella's case alive. Cora, now 14, had grown quiet and anxious. She attended therapy twice a week and suffered panic attacks whenever anyone mentioned shopping malls. Her once bright spirit had dimmed, replaced by a constant worry that made her seem older than her years. Mom, Cora said one morning, picking at her breakfast. Sarah invited me to the mall this weekend. Her mom will drive us. Hannah tensed. You don't have to go if you're not ready. I know, but Dr. Peterson says I need to face my fears. Cora's voice was small. Will you come too? Just stay in the food court? Of course, sweetheart. Hannah had found purpose in volunteering for the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children. Every Tuesday and Thursday, she answered phones, filed reports, and comforted other parents living her nightmare. It kept her connected to Ella somehow. Tom had remarried, a woman named Patricia from his Gamblers Anonymous group. They'd moved to Chicago, but he still called every March 14th, the anniversary of Ella's disappearance. Their conversations were brief, painful reminders of the family they'd lost. The annual candlelight vigil at Cedar Rapids City Hall had become smaller each year. This March, only about 30 people showed up, mostly family and close friends. They released purple balloons, Ella's favorite color, into the cold night sky. We'll never stop looking, Hannah told the local reporter who still covered the story. Someone knows something. That someone turned out to be Detective Lisa Chen, who joined the Cedar Rapids Police Department that fall. Lisa was Mia Chen's older cousin, and she'd followed Ella's case from the beginning. I've always felt there was something we missed, Lisa told Hannah during their first meeting. I'd like to reopen the investigation. Lisa brought fresh eyes and new technology to the case. She had the corrupted video files sent to a digital forensics lab in California. She re-interviewed witnesses with updated questioning techniques. She even tracked down Jennifer Walsh's old college roommate. Jennifer was obsessed with having children, the roommate revealed. When she found out she couldn't conceive, something in her snapped. She became fixated on other people's families, especially Tom's. But she died in that car crash, Lisa said. The roommate shook her head. The body was badly burned. Dental records were inconclusive. It was the 90s. DNA testing wasn't what it is today. Meanwhile, Hannah had been receiving strange packages. No return address, always mailed from different cities. Inside, a hair ribbon Ella used to wear, a page torn from her favorite book, a photo of her at age 10. Someone was sending pieces of Ella's life back to them. "They're taunting us," Lisa said, examining the latest package, showing us they have access to her belongings. The breakthrough came in December. The forensics lab had recovered portions of Ella's video. Jennifer has been working at the mall under a fake name. She's a janitor, has access to everywhere. She's been planning this for years. Dad doesn't know she's alive. She wants revenge for him leaving her. I found out by accident when I saw her. The video cut out again, but it was enough. They had a lead. Lisa's team combed through employment records from 2009. They found a Maria Hernandez who'd worked as a janitor at Lyndale Mall, hired just 3 months before Ella's disappearance. The employment photo was grainy, but facial recognition software found a match. Jennifer Walsh. On Christmas morning, another package arrived. Inside was a recent photo of a young woman who looked remarkably like Ella, standing in front of a coffee shop. On the back, written in familiar handwriting, "She's happy now. Stop looking." Hannah studied the photo. The woman had Ella's eyes, her smile, but her hair was dyed blonde, and she looked older, different somehow. Was it really her daughter? "We can trace where this was taken," Lisa said excitedly. The coffee shop sign is partially visible. As they prepared to follow this new lead, a woman watched the Hartley house from across the street. She'd been watching for years, waiting for the right moment. Hannah Hartley was getting too close to the truth. It was time to end this game. 5. More years had slipped by like sand through fingers. It was 2019, and technology had finally caught up with cold cases. Detective Lisa Chen burst into Hannah's volunteer office at the Missing Persons Center. Her face flushed with excitement. "We got a hit," Lisa said breathlessly. "The new DNA database found a match." Hannah's coffee mug slipped from her fingers, shattering on the floor. Ella? A Jane Doe in Minnesota. She was found 5 years ago but never identified. The DNA markers match Ella's hairbrush samples. The drive to St. Paul felt both endless and too quick. Hannah clutched Cora's hand in the back seat, while Tom, who'd flown in from Chicago, sat rigidly in the passenger seat. None of them spoke, each lost in their own mixture of hope and dread. At the medical examiner's office, Dr. Sarah Lindstrom met them with gentle eyes. "I want to prepare you," she said softly. "The remains were found in the Mississippi River. Identification may be difficult." Hannah nodded numbly. After 10 years, she'd imagined this moment countless times, but nothing could prepare her for the reality. They were led to a viewing room with a glass partition. Dr. Lindstrom pulled back the sheet, revealing what remained of a young woman. Hannah stepped closer, studying the details. The shape of the jaw, the small scar above the left eyebrow from a childhood bike accident. "It's not her," Hannah whispered, then louder. "It's not Ella." "Are you certain?" Dr. Lindstrom asked. The DNA match was very close. "A mother knows," Hannah said firmly. "This isn't my daughter." Back at the hotel, Lisa reviewed the files again. The DNA was a familial match, not exact. This Jane Doe could be a relative we don't know about. Tom shifted uncomfortably. Jennifer had a sister. They were estranged, but... Another secret? Hannah's voice was ice. "I honestly forgot." Jennifer never talked about her family. The false alarm had reopened old wounds, but it also reignited the investigation. Lisa dove deeper into Jennifer Walsh's background, uncovering a complex web of aliases and false identities. A month later, Cora graduated from high school. She stood at the podium, valedictorian of her class, her voice steady as she delivered her speech. 10 years ago, my sister went shopping and never came home, she began. That day changed everything. But Ella taught me something important before she left. That love doesn't end just because someone's gone. So this diploma isn't just mine, it's ours. Ella, wherever you are, we did it. There wasn't a dry eye in the auditorium. Hannah recorded the speech, knowing somehow that Ella would want to see it someday. That summer brought another development. The coffee shop from the mysterious Christmas photo was identified. Betty's Brew in Portland, Oregon. Lisa and Hannah flew out immediately. The owner, Betty Martinez, remembered the young woman. Hey to Mihan. She comes in every Tuesday morning, orders a vanilla latte, always pays cash. Quiet, keeps to herself. They staked out the shop for a week. On Tuesday at 8:15 a.m., a young woman entered. Hannah's breath caught. She had Ella's walk, the same way of tucking her hair behind her ear. Ella? Hannah called out. The woman turned, startled. For a moment, their eyes met, and Hannah saw recognition flash across her face. Then the woman bolted. Lisa gave chase, but the woman disappeared into the morning crowd. Back at the shop, they found she'd dropped a book, The Count of Monte Cristo, with a bookmark from a local library. She's been here, Lisa said. Living under another name. The Portland Library had security footage. The woman had a library card under the name Sarah Mills. The address led to an apartment complex, but the unit was empty, cleared out in a hurry. She knew we were coming, Hannah said, frustrated. Someone warned her. As they flew back to Cedar Rapids, a package waited on Hannah's doorstep. Inside was Ella's silver charm bracelet, the one she'd worn the day she disappeared. A note was attached. Stop looking, or next time it won't be jewelry I send back. The threat was clear, but Hannah refused to back down. She'd come too far, gotten too close. Lisa increased security around the Hartley home. They installed cameras, changed locks, varied routines, but the feeling of being watched persisted. On Halloween night, trick-or-treaters filled the streets. Hannah was handing out candy when she noticed a woman in a nurse's costume lingering at the edge of her yard. Something about her posture seemed familiar. "Can I help you?" Hannah called out. The woman turned slightly, and in the glow of the porch light, Hannah saw her face. The same face from Tom's old wedding photos. Jennifer Walsh. "You should have stopped looking," Jennifer said, her voice cold. "Now it's too late." Before Hannah could react, Jennifer melted back into the crowd of costumed children and parents. Hannah ran inside, grabbing her phone to call Lisa. But the line was dead. The power went out. In the sudden darkness, she heard the back door creak. Open! Someone was in the house. Cora's scream pierced the darkness. "Mom!" Hannah ran toward her daughter's voice, her heart pounding. After all these years, Jennifer Walsh had finally come to finish what she started. Hannah burst into Cora's room, wielding a baseball bat she'd grabbed from the hall closet. The beam of her cell phone flashlight swept across the empty room. Cora was gone. The window stood open, curtains billowing in the October wind. "Cora!" Hannah screamed, running to the window. In the yard below, she saw movement, two figures struggling near the fence. Hannah raced downstairs and out the back door. In the moonlight, she saw Cora fighting against someone's grip. But it wasn't Jennifer Walsh. It was an elderly man in a security uniform. "Let her go!" Hannah shouted, raising the bat. "Mrs. Hartley, wait!" the man called out. "I'm trying to help. That woman, she was in your house." Police sirens wailed in the distance. Lisa had somehow been alerted. The man released Cora, who ran to Hannah's arms. "I'm Miguel Reyes," the man said, hands raised. "I work security at Lyndale Mall. Have for 15 years. I saw your daughter that day. The day she disappeared." Hannah lowered the bat slowly. "What?" "I've been carrying this guilt for 14 years, Miguel continued, his voice breaking. "I was afraid to come forward. My immigration status. It wasn't legal back then. But I can't stay quiet anymore." Lisa arrived with backup, securing the house. They found no sign of Jennifer, but muddy footprints led from the back door to Cora's room. At the police station, Miguel told his story. "I was cleaning the employee break room that Saturday," he began. "It was supposed to be my day off, but needed extra money. I wasn't on the official schedule." "What did you see?" Lisa asked gently. "A teenage girl. Your Ella. She was in the employee hallway. That's off-limits to customers. She was with a woman in a nurse's uniform. St. Luke's hospital badge." Hannah leaned forward. "What were they doing?" The woman was saying Ella's mom had been in an accident, that she was sent to bring Ella to the hospital. Ella looked scared, confused. She kept saying she needed to call home first. "Then what happened?" Lisa pressed. The woman grabbed Ella's arm hard, said there wasn't time. They went out the employee exit to the loading dock. I followed, worried something wasn't right. Miguel paused, wiping his eyes. There was a white van, no hospital markings. A man was driving. When Ella saw the van, she tried to run. The woman, she injected her with something. Ella went limp. "Why didn't you report this?" Lisa asked. "I was terrified. No papers, no legal status. I had family, depending on me. But I took a picture with my old phone. The van's license plate." Miguel pulled out an ancient flip phone. The image was blurry, but showed a partial plate number. "The woman," Hannah said, her voice shaking. "Describe her." "Tall, dark hair going gray, had a scar on her chin. Cold eyes. I'll never forget those eyes." Hannah pulled out her phone, showing him Tom's old wedding photo. "Is this her?" Miguel studied it carefully. "Yes, that's her. That's the woman who took your daughter." Lisa immediately ran the partial plate through the system. The van was registered to a Jennifer Walsh. Listed address is in Minneapolis. "But there's more," Miguel continued. "Last month I saw her again, at St. Luke's. She really works there. Now, in the psychiatric ward. Different name tag, Jennifer Novak." Hannah stood up. "She's been here all along? Working at our hospital?" "We need to move fast," Lisa said. "If she knows Miguel talked..." They raced to St. Luke's Hospital. The night administrator confirmed Jennifer Novak worked there, but had called in sick that evening, right after Hannah's encounter at her house. "Pull her employment records," Lisa ordered. The file revealed Jennifer had been hired 5 years ago, with impeccable references that now seemed suspicious. Her emergency contact was listed as a Dr. Robert Mills in Montana. "Montana," Lisa muttered, "where those other missing girls' trails went cold." Hannah's phone buzzed. "Unknown number." She answered on speaker. "Hello, Hannah." Jennifer's voice was calm, almost friendly. "I see you've been busy tonight. Where's my daughter?" Hannah demanded. "Safe. Happy. Living the life she was meant to have." What do you want, Jennifer? What I've always wanted? What Tom took from me? A family? You're insane, Hannah spat. No, I'm a mother, just like you. I saved those girls from lives they didn't deserve, gave them better ones. Ella had a good life, did she? With a gambling addict father? A mother too blind to see what was happening in her own home? Lisa signaled her team to trace the call. I gave Ella everything, Jennifer continued. Education, travel, love. She doesn't even remember you now. You're lying. Am I? Ask her yourself. She's standing right here. There was a rustling sound, then a young woman's voice. Hello? Hannah's heart stopped. It sounded like Ella, but older, different. Ella? Baby, it's Mom. I'm sorry, the voice said, confused. You must have the wrong number. My name is Sarah. The line went dead. Lisa checked the trace. Got it. The call came from Montana, Flathead County. That's where we'll find her, Hannah said with certainty. That's where we'll find all of them. As dawn broke over Cedar Rapids, they prepared for what would be their final journey in this 14-year search. Miguel had given them the key they needed. Now they just had to unlock the door to Jennifer's twisted sanctuary. But Jennifer had one more surprise waiting for them in Montana. The Flathead County Sheriff's Department helicopter flew low over the dense Montana wilderness. Hannah pressed her face to the window, scanning the landscape below. Lisa sat beside her, coordinating with FBI teams on the ground. The call originated from a compound near Hungry Horse, Lisa explained, pointing to a map. Registered to Dr. Robert Mills, but that's an alias. The property was purchased by a shell company linked to Jennifer Walsh. Tom shifted uncomfortably in his seat. He'd insisted on coming, claiming he needed to face Jennifer himself. Hannah had reluctantly agreed, knowing this confrontation was long overdue. As they approached the coordinates, a cluster of buildings emerged from the forest. A main house, several cabins, and what looked like a converted barn. From above, it resembled a small commune or retreat center. There's movement, the pilot announced. Multiple individuals. Through binoculars, Hannah saw young women walking between buildings. Her heart raced. Was one of them Ella? They landed in a clearing a mile away, joining the FBI tactical team. Agent Sarah Collins, leading the operation, briefed them. Thermal imaging shows at least 20 people on the property. We've identified Jennifer Walsh, aka Jennifer Novak, aka Maria Hernandez. She's armed. What about the girls? Hannah asked. They appear unrestrained. Some have been seen carrying weapons. This complicates things. They're not hostages, Lisa realized. They're believers. As the team prepared to move in, Hannah's phone buzzed. A text from an unknown number. I know you're here. Come alone to the red cabin, or they all die. You have 10 minutes. Hannah showed Lisa the message. It's a trap, Lisa said immediately. Of course it is, but she won't hurt me. Not yet. She wants something. Against all protocol, Hannah slipped away from the group. She found the red cabin at the edge of the property. The door stood open. Inside, Jennifer Walsh sat in a rocking chair, a shotgun across her lap. She looked older than her photos. Her once dark hair now streaked with silver. Hello, Hannah, Jennifer said calmly. We finally meet properly. Where's my daughter? Jennifer smiled. Our daughter. That's what you never understood. Tom and I were meant to have children. When I couldn't conceive, when he left me for you, I knew I had to find another way. You kidnapped teenage girls. That's not motherhood. That's insanity. Is it? I gave them better lives. Education, purpose, love. Ask them yourself if they want to leave. You brainwashed them. Jennifer stood, moving to a desk covered in files. Do you know why I chose Ella? Besides the obvious. Revenge? Hannah remained silent. Because she was already looking for escape. Those chat logs with Josh 17? That was my associate, Dr. Mills. But Ella initiated contact. She was unhappy, Hannah. She felt trapped. You're lying. Jennifer pulled out a folder. Read it yourself. Ella's journal entries, her emails. She was planning to run away anyway. I just facilitated it. Hannah's hands shook as she read her daughter's words. The teenage angst, the feelings of not belonging, the desire for something more. It was all there, in Ella's handwriting. Teenagers feel these things, Hannah said. It doesn't justify what you did, doesn't it? I gave her what she wanted. A fresh start. A new family. Where is she? Jennifer walked to the window. She's teaching now, literature, has a master's degree, getting married next spring to a wonderful young man. She's happy, Hannah. Happier than she ever was with you. I want to see her. Of course. She's expecting you. Jennifer led Hannah across the compound to a larger cabin. Inside, a young woman sat grading papers. She looked up as they entered. It was Ella, older, more mature, but unmistakably her daughter. Ella, Hannah whispered. The young woman smiled politely. I'm sorry, you're mistaken. My name is Sarah Mills. Jennifer said you'd be coming. Something about a mix-up with identities? Hannah's world tilted. Ella, it's me, Mom. Don't you remember? Sarah looked confused. I'm sorry, but my parents died in a car accident when I was 16. Jennifer saved me from foster care, brought me here. No, baby, that's not true. You were taken. From the mall. Remember? You wore your purple hoodie that day. A flicker of something crossed Sarah's face. Uncertainty. Maybe recognition. But it vanished quickly. I think you should leave, she said firmly. You're upsetting me. Jennifer placed a hand on Hannah's shoulder. You see? She doesn't want your life anymore. None of them do. The sound of helicopters grew louder. The FBI was moving in. It's over. Jennifer, Hannah said. They're coming. Jennifer's smile never wavered. Is it? Even if you take them, they'll come back. This is their home now, their family. Gunshots rang out, screaming. The tactical team had encountered resistance. Jennifer moved quickly, grabbing the shotgun. I won't let you destroy what I've built. Mom? Ella's voice. And she'd said, Mom, what's happening? In that moment of confusion, Hannah saw the real Ella behind the Sarah facade. The conditioning was cracking. Jennifer raised the shotgun. Step away from her, Hannah! Tom burst through the door. Jennifer, stop! Jennifer turned, startled. Tom, you came! It's over, he said softly. Let them go. You left me. Jennifer's voice broke. You left me alone. I'm sorry. But this isn't the answer. As Jennifer hesitated, torn between her ex-husband and her twisted mission, Lisa appeared behind Tom, weapon drawn. The standoff lasted only seconds. Jennifer made her choice, turning the shotgun toward herself. No! Tom lunged forward, but he was too late. The shot echoed through the cabin. Jennifer crumpled to the floor. In the chaos that followed, Hannah held her daughter as years of false memories began to unravel. Ella sobbed, confused, frightened, but slowly remembering. Mom? She whispered. Is it really you? Yes, baby, Hannah cried. I never stopped looking. Never. Outside, FBI agents rounded up the other young women, some fighting, some crying, all showing signs of severe psychological manipulation. As emergency vehicles arrived, Hannah learned the full scope of Jennifer's operation. 15 missing girls, all given new identities, all convinced their families were dead. The compound had been Jennifer's twisted version of paradise, a place where she could be the mother she'd always wanted to be. But paradise built on lies always crumbles eventually. The FBI command center buzzed with activity as agents processed evidence from the Montana compound. Hannah sat with Ella in a quiet corner, holding her daughter's trembling hands. The deprogramming specialist, Dr. Helen Martinez, had warned them the next few days would be critical. Jennifer wasn't working alone, Agent Collins announced, spreading documents across the table. We've uncovered a nationwide network. They called themselves the Guardians. Lisa studied the files. They believed they were saving children from unfit parents. Look at this manifesto. They had criteria for selecting targets. The documents revealed a chilling system. The Guardians monitored social media, school records, and family court proceedings. They looked for signs of what they considered neglect. Working parents, divorced families, children expressing typical teenage angst. Ella fit their profile, Dr. Martinez explained. Good student feeling pressure, parents with marital issues, expressing desire for change online. They exploited normal adolescent feelings. But how did they operate for so long without detection? Tom asked. Agent Collins pulled up a map dotted with red pins. Safe houses in 12 states. Fake identities, forged documents. They had people. In social services, hospitals, schools. Jennifer was just one cell leader. The scope was staggering. Over 2 decades, the Guardians had relocated nearly 50 teenagers. Each was given a new identity, a fabricated tragic backstory, and intensive psychological conditioning. They used a combination of drugs and therapy techniques, Dr. Martinez continued. Convinced these kids their memories were false, trauma-induced fantasies? Ella spoke for the first time in hours. The White Room, she whispered. They put me in a white room for days, said I was sick, that my mind was creating false memories of a family that never existed. Hannah squeezed her hand tighter. I'm here now. I'm real. The other girls, Ella said suddenly, we need to help them. Some have been there even longer than me. The FBI had detained 14 young women from the compound. Each believed their families were dead. Each had been rescued by Jennifer and... The Guardians, we've identified 12 so far, Lisa said, including the 3 girls from the cold cases, Ashley Martinez, Rachel Burke, and Sarah Coleman. They're alive. The next weeks were a blur of reunions and revelations. Families torn apart years ago were brought back together. The media dubbed it the miracle in Montana. But not all reunions were joyful. Some girls, thoroughly indoctrinated, refused to believe their real families. Others had been gone so long their parents had passed away or moved on. Dr. Robert Mills, the mysterious Josh 17, was arrested at the Canadian border. A former psychiatrist who'd lost his license, he'd developed the conditioning program the Guardians used. I truly believed we were helping, he insisted during interrogation. These children were suffering. We gave them better lives. The investigation expanded. Safe houses were raided in Oregon, Idaho, Wyoming, and Colorado. More missing children were found, some now adults who'd been living under false identities for decades. Ella's recovery was slow and painful. Some days, she remembered everything clearly. Other days, the false memories returned, and she'd call Hannah Jennifer by mistake. It's like having 2 lives in my head, she told Dr. Martinez during therapy. I remember graduating from college, but I also remember being in high school when I was taken. Which memories are real? Both are real to you, Dr. Martinez explained. Your brain experienced both. We're not erasing the last 14 years. We're integrating them with your true past. The legal proceedings were complex. Many guardians truly believed they were helping children. Some had been victims themselves, rescued and then recruited into the organization. Hannah testified before Congress about the need for better missing children protocols. The Ella Hartley Act passed unanimously, providing funding for advanced DNA databases and psychological support for recovered victims. Tom and Hannah didn't reconcile, but they found peace in co-parenting their recovered daughter. Tom's guilt over his secrets had contributed to Ella's vulnerability, but he committed to making amends. Cora struggled with her sister's return. The Ella who came back wasn't the teenager who'd left. She was a 30-year-old woman with a different life. Experience. I missed growing up with you, Cora told her sister one evening. I'm angry at what they took from us. Ella hugged her. We can't get those years back. But we have now. The wedding planning continued. Ella's fiancé, Marcus, had been shocked to learn his bride-to-be had another identity. But he stood by her, attending therapy sessions and supporting her recovery. I fell in love with Sarah, he said, but I'm learning to love Ella too. They're both part of who she is. As the investigation wound down, one mystery remained. Jennifer's personal files referenced a source, someone high in government who'd protected the Guardians for years. Without the source, we're vulnerable, Jennifer had written in her journal, but as long as they need us, we're untouchable. Lisa pursued this lead relentlessly. Banking records, encrypted emails, and witness testimonies slowly painted a picture of corruption at the highest levels. The trail led to Senator William Crawford, chairman of the Committee on Family Services. His own daughter had disappeared in 1995, never found. In his grief, he'd secretly supported the Guardians, believing they were saving children from fates like his daughters. Crawford's arrest sent shockwaves through Washington. The Guardians' network began to crumble as protections disappeared and funding dried up. On the first anniversary of the Montana raid, the families gathered for a memorial service. They planted trees for each recovered child and released butterflies, symbols of transformation and freedom. Ella spoke at the ceremony. We were stolen, but not destroyed. Misled, but not lost forever. Today, we reclaim our identities and our futures. As the butterflies dispersed into the sky, Hannah watched her daughter with pride. The journey wasn't over. Healing would take years, but they were together again. The Guardians had believed they were creating perfect families. Instead, they'd proven that real family bonds can survive even the worst betrayals and the longest separations. That night, Hannah found an envelope on her doorstep. Inside was a photo of a young girl she didn't recognize and a note. Not all of us were found. Keep looking. The fight wasn't over. Somewhere out there, more stolen children waited to be discovered. The photo of the unknown girl haunted Hannah. She brought it to Lisa, who ran it through facial recognition databases. Within hours, they had a match. Emily Foster, missing, from Seattle since 2015. There's something else, Lisa said, pulling up Jennifer's encrypted files. We cracked the last folder. It contains a list. Every child the Guardians ever took, including ones we haven't found yet. The list contained 73 names. They'd only recovered 46. Where are the others? Hannah asked. Different cells, different leaders, Lisa explained. Jennifer's death triggered a protocol. The remaining guardians went underground. Emily Foster's trail led them to a small town in Washington state. Surveillance revealed she was living as Grace Patterson, attending community college, working at a local bookstore. Hannah insisted on approaching her personally. She understood the delicate nature of these revelations better than anyone. At Northwind Books, Hannah found Emily shelving novels. The girl looked up with familiar eyes, the haunted look of someone living with false memories. "Grace?" Hannah said softly. The girl smiled politely. "Can I help you find something?" "Actually, I think I can help you find something. Your real name. Your real family." Emily's face went pale. I don't know what you mean." "Seattle, 2015. You were 14. You went to volunteer at an animal shelter and never came home." Emily's hands shook. "How do you—" "That's not— My parents died in a fire." "No, they didn't. They're still looking for you. Just like I looked for my daughter for 14 years. Over coffee, Hannah shared Ella's story. Emily listened, tears streaming down her face as buried memories surfaced. "The White Room," she whispered. "I remember the White Room." "We can help you," Hannah assured her. "There are specialists, support groups. You're not alone." Emily's recovery led to 3 more rescues. Each saved child remembered others. Fragments of overheard conversations, glimpses of faces. The network unraveled piece by piece. Meanwhile, Ella's wedding day approached. She'd decided to legally change her name to Ella Sarah Hartley Mills, embracing both identities. "I can't erase 14 years, she explained to Hannah. "Sarah is part of who I am now. But Ella is who I was born to be." The wedding was beautiful and bittersweet. Families of recovered children attended, forming bonds forged through shared trauma. Marcus proved to be a compassionate partner, understanding the complexity of Ella's journey. During the father-daughter dance, Tom whispered, "I'm sorry I wasn't the father you needed." "You're the father I have," Ella replied. "That's what matters." Now, Dr. Martinez published groundbreaking research on identity reconstruction, using the Guardian's victims as case studies. Her work revolutionized treatment for kidnapping survivors worldwide. The trials of captured guardians revealed more about their twisted philosophy. They genuinely believed traditional families were failing children. Their solution was to create perfect families through abduction and psychological manipulation. "The scariest part," Lisa told Hannah, "is that some of their recruits were teachers, social workers, people we trust with our children every day." Senator Crawford's testimony exposed decades of cover-ups. He'd diverted federal funds to support the Guardians, classified reports of their activities, and silenced investigations. "I lost my daughter," he said at his sentencing. "I couldn't bear the thought of other parents suffering the same fate. I thought I was helping." "You were perpetuating the very thing you feared," the judge responded, before sentencing him to 30 years. As more children were found and reunited with their families, patterns emerged. The Guardians had targeted specific types of families, those with marital problems, financial struggles, or mental health issues. They exploited vulnerabilities to justify their actions. Ella returned to college, studying psychology with a focus on trauma recovery. "I want to help others like me," she explained. "Turn this nightmare into something meaningful." Cora, inspired by her sister's resilience, became a victim's advocate. The sisters grew closer, building the relationship stolen from them. 1 year after Ella's wedding, the final Guardian safe house was discovered in Alaska. Inside were the last 5 missing children from Jennifer's list, including the girl from the mysterious photo. The media called it the Great Recovery. 73 stolen children returned to their families. The largest kidnapping ring in U.S. history dismantled, but the psychological impact lingered. Support groups formed across the country. Families learned to navigate the complex process of reintegration. Hannah became a national advocate for missing children, working with law enforcement to develop new protocols. The Hartley Foundation provided resources for families of long-term missing persons. On the 5th anniversary of Ella's return, the family gathered at Lyndale Mall, the place where it all began. They stood in the food court, looking at the entrance where Ella had disappeared 15 years ago. "I was so scared that day," Ella admitted. "Jennifer had convinced me online that you didn't really love me, that I'd be better off with a new family. I almost believed her." "What changed your mind?" Cora asked. "When I saw the van, I knew something was wrong. I tried to run. I tried to come home." Hannah hugged both daughters. "You did come home. It just took longer than we expected." They walked through the mall together, mother and daughters, finally, whole again. The security cameras recorded their exit, a mirror image of that fateful day in 2009, but with a different ending. At home that evening, Hannah found Tom's old watch, the one the kidnapper had worn to confuse them. She'd kept it as evidence of how thoroughly Jennifer had planned Ella's abduction. Now she threw it away. The past couldn't be changed, but it no longer defined them. The Hartley family had survived the unimaginable. They'd been broken and rebuilt, lost and found. Their story became a testament to the unbreakable bonds of family and the persistence of hope. As Hannah closed Ella's old diary, finally able to put it away, she noticed something she'd missed before. On the very last page, in tiny writing, Ella had written, "If I disappear, keep looking. Promise, you'll keep looking." Hannah smiled through tears. Promise kept. 6 months after the last child was found, Ella stood at the podium of Cedar Rapids Convention Center. The National Center for Missing and Exploited Children had invited her to speak at their annual conference. "I was gone for 14 years, she began, her voice steady. "But I was never truly lost. My mother's love was the beacon that guided me home." In the audience, Hannah sat between Cora and Marcus, pride swelling in her chest. Tom sat one row, back with Patricia, their relationship now one of respectful co-parenting. After the speech, families surrounded Ella, sharing their own stories of loss and hope. She listened to each one, offering comfort from her unique perspective. "You give us hope," one mother said, clutching a photo of her missing son. "If you came home after 14 years. "Never stop looking," Ella assured her. "Never stop believing." That weekend, Ella returned to Cedar Rapids for an extended visit. She and Cora had planned a Sister's Day, starting at the newly renovated Lyndale Mall. "Are you sure about this?" Hannah asked as she dropped them off. Ella squeezed her hand. "It's just a building, Mom. It doesn't have power over me anymore." Inside, the sisters walked arm in arm, stopping at the food court where their paths had diverged so many years ago. "I used to come here every week after you disappeared," Cora admitted. "I'd sit at our favorite table and pretend you were just running late." "I'm sorry I kept you waiting so long," Ella said softly. "You're here now. That's what matters." They shopped for hours, making up for lost time. At Claire's boutique, they tried on matching friendship bracelets. "Remember when I promised to bring you something special?" Ella asked, fastening a silver charm bracelet around Cora's wrist. Cora touched the charms, a butterfly, a heart, a compass. 14 years late, but worth the wait. Their next stop was Kennedy High School, where Ella had been invited to speak to students about online safety. Mia Chen, now the school's guidance counselor, introduced her. Ella Hartley was my best friend, Mia told the assembled teenagers. She taught me that the internet can be both wonderful and dangerous. Today, she's here to share her story. Ella spoke candidly about how she'd been groomed online, how predators exploit teenage insecurities. The students listened, riveted. Trust your instincts, she urged them. If something feels wrong, it probably is. And always, always tell someone you trust. After the assembly, Ella visited her old locker, number 237. The current student using it had decorated it with photos and stickers, a normal teenage life continuing where hers had been interrupted. That evening, the family gathered at Hannah's house for dinner. She'd finally redecorated Ella's old room, turning it into a guest room while preserving small touches of the past. "I kept your stuffed animals," Hannah said, showing Ella a box in the closet, "just in case." Ella pulled out a worn teddy bear. "Mr. Buttons, I thought about him sometimes, in those confused moments when real memories broke through." Marcus watched, his wife with gentle understanding. Their relationship had deepened through the trials of her recovery. He'd learned to love all versions of Ella, the teenager she'd been, the woman she'd become, and the person she was still becoming. "Have you decided about the book offer?" he asked over dessert. Several publishers had approached Ella about writing her story. She'd been hesitant, unsure if she was ready to relive everything in such detail. "I think I want to do it," she said. "Not for money or fame, but to help others, to show that recovery is possible." Hannah nodded approvingly. "Your story could save lives." The next morning, Ella visited Dr. Martinez for a follow-up session. The therapy had evolved from crisis management to integration work. "How are the memories?" Dr. Martinez asked. "Clearer now. I can usually tell which ones are real and which were implanted. The emotions are still complicated, though." "That's normal. You lived two lives. Both shaped who you are." "I realized something," Ella said. "Jennifer was wrong about everything except one thing. I was searching for something when she found me. But it wasn't a new family. It was myself." "And did you find it?" Ella smiled. "I'm still looking. But now I have the right people helping me search." Later that week, Ella and Hannah visited Tom's office. He'd rebuilt his accounting firm, specializing in helping families of missing children manage reward funds and legal expenses. "I can't change the past," he told them, "but I can use my skills to help others." On her last day in Cedar Rapids, Ella returned to Lyndale Mall one final time. She and Cora had a tradition now. They always ended their visits here, reclaiming the space that had once held such darkness. At the jewelry store, they bought matching charm bracelets. Each charm represented something they'd lost and found again: family, trust, hope, identity. "I have something to tell you," Ella said, as they sat in the food court. "Marcus and I are expecting," Cora squealed, hugging her sister. "I'm going to be an aunt." "We're naming her Hope," Ella continued. "Hope Jennifer Hartley Mills." "Jennifer?" Cora asked, surprised. "Not for the woman who took me, but for the lesson she taught us. That love can be twisted, but it can also heal. That families can be broken, but they can also be rebuilt." As they prepared to leave, Ella paused at the mall entrance. She touched the glass door, remembering two versions of herself: the 16-year-old who'd walked in and the 30-year-old who'd finally walked out. "Ready?" Cora asked. Ella nodded. "Ready." They stepped into the sunshine together, sisters, reunited. walking toward a future they'd fought 14 years to reclaim. At the airport, Hannah hugged Ella tightly. "Come back soon." "I will, Mom. I promise." As Ella's plane took off, Hannah watched until it disappeared into the clouds. She no longer feared losing her daughter. The bond between them had been tested by time, distance, and deception, but it had held. Some promises, once kept, can never be broken. Back home, Hannah opened a drawer and pulled out Ella's old diary. She'd kept it all these years, unable to let go of that last piece of her missing daughter. Now, she placed it in a box marked "Donations." Another family might need the hope it represented, the promise that lost children can find their way home. As she sealed the box, her phone buzzed. A text from Ella. "Landed safely. Love you, Mom. Thank you for never giving up." Hannah smiled, typing back, "Love you too, baby. Always have, always will." Outside, spring had returned to Cedar Rapids. The trees were budding, flowers blooming. 14 years ago, spring had brought loss. Now it brought renewal. The Hartley family had learned that some stories don't end where you expect. Sometimes the final chapter is just the beginning of a new book. And in that book, love always finds its way home. That was the end of this incredible story of hope, perseverance, and the unbreakable bonds of family. Where are you listening from today? Let us know in the comments below. If this story touched your heart, please like this video and subscribe to our channel for more powerful, true stories that remind us of the strength of the human spirit. Don't forget to share this video with your friends and family to spread kindness and awareness about missing children and the families who never stop searching for them. Together, we can make a difference. Thank you for listening, and we'll see you in the next video.